Now, here's this idea of Psalm 104 eyes. Are you familiar with Psalm 104? It's okay if you're not, because most people are not familiar with Psalm 104. It's one of those Psalms right there in the middle that, doesn't get a lot of attention. But Psalm 104 is one of my favorite Psalms. It's a Psalm that takes a detailed look at the natural world for what it is, the creation of God in his handiwork. And it's something he upholds and takes care of, and he's active in it. To better understand this psalm, let's take a look at a few of its verses. He sends the springs into the valleys. They flow among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. By them the birds of the heavens have their home. They sing among the branches. He waters the hills from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and the vegetation for the service of men. So that's 104 verses 10 through 14. Let's look at verses 27 and 28. These, that is all the animals in God's creation, these all wait for you, that you may give them their food in due season. What you give them, they gather in. You open your hand, they are filled with good. This psalm gives us a picture of how God didn't just simply create nature, but he continues to care for it and to care for his creatures. The psalmist who wrote the psalm saw creation as God's handiwork and as something he upholds and actively cares for. He saw creation with what I call Psalm 104 eyes. And I have given Psalm 104 eyes a definition. And that definition is eyes that look at creation as the craftsmanship and artistry of God that serves his purposes. They are the eyes of wonder like a child, but they are also the eyes of the wise. When we look at nature, we need to see it in this way, as the craftsmanship and artistry of God. In the creation account in Genesis, it uses the Hebrew word bara, which means to fashion or to shape like a craftsman. It implies creating with artistic freedom and imagination. That's how God created. We also see that creation serves his purposes. And one of God's purposes for it is to make himself known through it. To better see creation as we should, we need to have the eyes of wonder like a child. Now, I have two kids, and one of the first movies we ever took our kids to see was the movie Frozen. And my daughter, I think she was 3 or 4 at the time as we went to go see this movie. And it was the first time she saw a movie in a movie theater. And as she watched this colorful and magical movie, her eyes were just wide open. Her expression was in awe as she watched it. It was quite amazing. I don't know if it changed the whole time she watched the movie. It was just powerful to see her in such awe of what she was watching with these eyes of wonder. And boys also have a sense of wonder, and I think they have it longer than girls do and more intensely than girls do. Just from having one boy and one girl. My son, when he was a toddler, 2, 3, 4 years old, it was time to, start cutting some strings. Parents do everything, but, there's a time he had to come to start washing his own hands. So sent him in the bathroom, go ahead, wash your hands. And he's in there a little longer than he should. And so I walk into that bathroom, and he's got the drain stop pushed down, so the water has filled the sink with soap in it, so it's full of bubbles. And he's looking at the bubbles, sticking his hands in there, pulling it out, looking at his hands, and he's just got these eyes of wonder, right? So he's got those eyes of wonder like a child. And boys kind of hang on to those eyes of wonder for a while. Now my son he's a mid-teen, and he's with this scouting group called Trail Life USA. It's a Christian scouting group, and when those boys go on their campouts, man, they do all sorts of things with these eyes of wonder. Sometimes it gets them into trouble, but it's just cool to see that, because it builds greater meaning when we have these eyes of wonder. We can't have meaning without wonder. And of course, that ultimate sense of wonder comes from a relationship with God. Not only do we need to see creation with eyes of wonder, but we also need to see it with the eyes of the wise. We know it didn't come from nothing, and we also know we need to take care of it. God has called us to be stewards of his creation and care for what he's created. Finally, we need to see creation as something that glorifies God and points to him as creator. After all, one of the purposes of creation is to make God known to us. And also, as photographers, we can make God known and glorify him by showing his glory in our photographs, that glory that emanates from his creation. All right, photography and drawing near, and photography and wonder. So we need those eyes of the wise, and we have to combine those eyes of the wise with the eyes of wonder, like a child. As we get older, we lose those eyes of wonder, but it's best to hold on to those eyes of wonder, and photography can help us hold on to the wonder and to grow our wonder. As we search for our photographs, we can wonder about the things.